IELTS Speaking Part 1, Street Market. Question 1. What do people usually buy on the street market? Model answer. Band 6 answer. In street markets, people usually buy food like fruits, vegetables, or snacks. Sometimes they also buy clothes or small things like accessories. Band 7 answer. In Japan, people often buy fresh food like vegetables, fish, and fruits in street markets, because the quality is good and usually cheaper than supermarkets. Apart from that, some markets also sell handmade goods, second-hand clothes, or traditional snacks, which attract both locals and tourists. Band 8 answer. In Japanese street markets, the variety is quite wide. For example, you can find fresh seasonal produce, seafood, and even regional specialties like takoyaki or taiyaki. Many visitors also buy handicrafts or antiques, which makes the market not just a place to shop but also to experience local culture. Personally, I think people enjoy these markets because they combine daily necessities with cultural experiences. Question 2. Do you prefer to go shopping in the shopping mall or on the street market? Model answer. Band 6 answer. I prefer shopping malls because they are more comfortable. Street markets are fun, but malls have air conditioning and many shops in one place. Band 7 answer. I usually prefer shopping malls because they are convenient and I can find many brands in one building. But sometimes I go to street markets if I want something unique, like handmade products or traditional food. So it depends on my purpose. Band 8 answer. Personally, I enjoy shopping malls for their comfort and convenience, especially in summer or winter when the weather is extreme. However, I also appreciate street markets because they offer a more personal atmosphere. You can talk to the vendors and sometimes bargain. In my view, malls are practical, while street markets are more about cultural experiences. So I try to enjoy both depending on my mood and needs. Question 3. When was the last time you went to a street market? Model answer. Band 6 answer. I went to a street market a few months ago. I just bought some snacks and drinks with my friends. Band 7 answer. The last time I went to a street market was in Osaka during the summer. I visited Kuromon Market with my friends. We tried grilled seafood, fresh fruits, and some traditional sweets. It was very crowded, but I enjoyed the atmosphere. Band 8 answer. The last street market I visited was Kuromon Market in Osaka last summer. I went there with my friends because it is famous for fresh seafood and Japanese street food. We tasted uni, grilled scallops, and fruit skewers. What impressed me most was the lively atmosphere. The vendors were calling out to customers, and tourists were taking photos everywhere. For me, it felt like a mix of shopping and sightseeing. Question 4. Are there many street markets in Japan? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, there are some street markets in Japan. People can find them in different cities. Band 7 answer. Yes, there are many street markets in Japan, but they are often smaller compared to other countries. For example, Tokyo has markets like Amayoko, and Osaka has Kuromon Market. They are popular with both local people and tourists. Band 8 answer. There are quite a few street markets in Japan, although they may not be as large as in some other countries. Each city has its own style. For instance, Tokyo has Amayoko, which sells clothes and food, while Kyoto has Nishiki Market, famous for traditional ingredients and sweets. In addition, seasonal markets, such as temple fairs or summer festivals, also play a big role in Japanese culture. These markets not only serve as shopping places but also as a way to preserve traditions and attract visitors. IELTS Speaking Part 2. An interesting animal you have seen. Describe an interesting animal you have seen. You should say, what animal it was, when and where you saw it, and explain how you feel about this animal. You have 1 minute to prepare. You have 2 minutes to talk. Model answer. Band 6 answer. I want to talk about a deer that I saw when I visited Nara Park last year. The deer were walking around freely in the park, and many tourists were feeding them special crackers. I was surprised because they were not afraid of people at all. I felt the deer were very cute and friendly, and it was interesting to see them so close in daily life. Band 7 answer. I'd like to describe a deer that I saw in Nara Park, which is a famous place in Japan. I went there last year during autumn, and there were so many deer walking around in the park. People could buy special rice crackers to feed them, and the deer would even bow politely before receiving food, which was really amazing to me. At first, I was a little nervous because they came very close, but later I found them gentle and charming. Seeing these animals up close made me realize how unique the culture of Nara is, where people and animals live peacefully together. Another reason why I found this experience so memorable is that it was completely different from what I usually see in my city. Normally, wild animals avoid humans, but here the deer were almost like friends. This made me think about how important it is to respect animals and create an environment where they can live side by side with people. Band 8 answer. One of the most interesting animals I have seen is the deer in Nara Park, Japan. I visited the park last autumn, and I was impressed to see hundreds of deer wandering around so freely, almost like they were the real residents of the city. Tourists could feed them with shika senbei, which are special crackers sold only in that park. What fascinated me most was that the deer would bow their heads politely before taking food, as if they understood Japanese manners. At first, I felt a little nervous because some deer came quite close and even tried to pull on people's clothes if they didn't get food quickly. However, after a while, I got used to it and even enjoyed feeding them. It felt almost magical to be able to interact with wild animals in such a safe and natural way. The whole experience was very different from seeing animals in a zoo, because the deer had so much freedom and seemed truly happy. Overall, I think the deer in Nara are special not only because of their behavior but also because they symbolize harmony between humans and nature. For me, that experience was unforgettable, and it made me appreciate how Japanese culture protects animals and integrates them into everyday life. It also inspired me to think about how we can apply similar ideas in other cities, so that people and wildlife can live together in a sustainable way. IELTS Speaking Part 3. An interesting animal you have seen. Question 1. What kind of animals do people have in their homes? Model answer. Band 6 answer. In my country, many people have dogs and cats as pets. Some families also keep birds, like parrots, and small animals such as hamsters. I think most people choose pets that are easy to take care of and friendly. Band 7 answer. In Japan, the most common pets are definitely dogs and cats, because they are considered good companions and can help reduce stress. Some people, especially those living in small apartments, prefer smaller pets like rabbits, turtles, or tropical fish, because they don't need as much space. I believe people choose pets based on their lifestyle and how much time they can spend with the animal. Band 8 answer. In Japan, pets are seen almost as family members, so dogs and cats are the most popular. But there's also a trend toward keeping smaller animals, such as hedgehogs or exotic reptiles, because they suit urban lifestyles where living space is limited. For example, in Tokyo, many young professionals who live in small apartments keep fish tanks or even pet insects, since they require less care and space. This shows how people adapt their choice of animals to modern living conditions, while still wanting the emotional comfort that pets provide. Question 2. A lot of animals are getting extinct these days. What do you think about this? Why is it happening? Model answer. Band 6 answer. I think it's very sad that many animals are disappearing. This happens because people destroy forests, and also because of hunting. If this continues, we may lose many beautiful species. Band 7 answer. Yes, it's really concerning that so many animals are becoming extinct. The main reasons are deforestation, climate change, and pollution, which destroy their natural habitats. For instance, polar bears are losing their homes because the ice is melting. I believe it's important for governments and individuals to take action, otherwise future generations will never be able to see these animals. Band 8 answer. The extinction of animals is one of the most serious environmental challenges today, and it reflects the imbalance between human development and nature. Industrialization, urban expansion, and overfishing are pushing many species to the brink of extinction. For example, in Japan, the crested ibis almost disappeared because of pollution and hunting, but thanks to conservation programs, their population is slowly recovering. This shows that while human activities cause the problem, we also have the responsibility and ability to reverse it if we take collective action. Question 3. Earlier people used animals for their work. Now, what do people use to do their work? Model answer. Band 6 answer. In the past, animals like horses or cows were used to help with farming and transportation. Now people use machines like tractors, cars, and trucks. Technology makes work faster and easier. Band 7 answer. Yes, before, animals played a big role in farming and transport, such as horses for carrying loads or oxen for plowing fields. Today, these jobs are mostly done by modern machines. For example, farmers use tractors, and people travel by cars and trains. Machines are much more efficient, but they also cause pollution, so it's not perfect. Band 8 answer. Traditionally, animals such as horses, oxen, and camels were essential for human labor, especially in agriculture and transportation. With technological advancement, however, machinery has replaced them almost entirely. Tractors, high-speed trains, and even AI-driven robots have taken over tasks that animals once performed. While this shift has improved productivity, it has also created new issues, like carbon emissions. In fact, some Japanese farmers are experimenting with eco-friendly drones to reduce reliance on heavy machines, showing how innovation can be both efficient and environmentally sustainable. Question 4. Researches are being conducted on animals. Is this a good idea? Model answer. Band 6 answer. I think animal research can be useful, for example for medicine. But sometimes it is cruel to animals, so I feel a bit uncomfortable about it. Band 7 answer. Animal research is a complicated issue. On the one hand, it has helped develop many medicines and treatments, which save human lives. On the other hand, it can be very painful and unfair to the animals. I think researchers should try to reduce animal testing and find other scientific methods, like using computer models. Band 8 answer. Animal research has been vital in many scientific breakthroughs, such as developing vaccines and treatments for serious diseases. However, it also raises ethical concerns, because animals cannot give consent and often suffer in experiments. In Japan, for example, universities are now investing in alternative technologies, like organ-on-a-chip models, which allow testing without harming animals. I believe this balanced approach, using animals only when absolutely necessary while exploring humane alternatives, is the most responsible way forward.
Congrats on making it to the end of this video, and kudos to you if you did all that practice. You are amazing. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And you can also add my official LINE account that's in the profile. And if you do this, then I can send you a free phrases guide that you can use for your practice. All right, happy studying. See ya.